What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. One of the best kept secrets in all of Metro Atlanta is Woodstock, Georgia. But the question is, what makes Woodstock such an amazing suburb, especially when you compare it to the other amazing suburbs of Metro Atlanta? That's what we're going to talk about in this video coming up. Hey, if you're thinking about moving to Woodstock or you just want to know what it's like to live here or any part of Atlanta, feel free to call, text me, email me anytime. I'm more than happy to help. Right now, let's talk about Woodstock, Georgia. Woodstock, Georgia is located about 30 to 40 minutes outside of the city of Atlanta and has about 32,000 people in it. But one thing that makes Woodstock so unique is that it's kind of like on the outskirts of Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta really includes like all of the suburbs around Atlanta. As you can imagine, Atlanta is like the center of the target, and Metro Atlanta kind of grows in a circle the way that a target does outward. And so the most densely populated part of Metro Atlanta is the city of Atlanta. And then as you go outward, the area becomes more suburban, more rural, and there are less people, less densely populated areas. And Woodstock, Georgia is like on the outskirt of that like bullseye or that target. And so because of that, Woodstock is like an up and coming city, an up and coming suburb where there aren't a lot of people yet, but there will be for sure in the next 5 to 10 years. Home values are still very good in Woodstock. We're going to talk specifically about the home values and the home styles in Woodstock. And then also you can find great homes with lots of land in Woodstock because it's not very densely populated there. Compared to some of the other suburbs of Metro Atlanta, Woodstock has kind of a small town feel to it. There are still all the amenities that you might need, grocery stores, post office, DMV. Do they still call it a DMV, motor vehicle registration? All of the things that you would need in a city, in a suburb around where you live, you can still find there in Woodstock. It's not like a super small town. It's not rural. It's still a suburban part of Metro Atlanta, but there are so few people there that it's not like super busy. It's not super crowded all the time in Woodstock, Georgia. So the feel in Woodstock is much more of a quieter town, much more of a smaller town as far as other suburbs go in Metro Atlanta. Some of the main roads that are in Woodstock, Georgia are Main Street and Highway 92. Main Street is actually where you find downtown Woodstock, and downtown Woodstock is like the city center of Woodstock, Georgia. That's where most of the restaurants are. That's where there's a big park there, and there's an amphitheater, and downtown Woodstock is really one of the most popular parts of Woodstock, Georgia. If there's ever like a crowd in Woodstock, Georgia, you're going to find it in downtown Woodstock. Unfortunately, the parking there in downtown Woodstock is not great. Also, the traffic can get pretty bad there in downtown Woodstock, but it's a very small part of the city of Woodstock. Outside of downtown Woodstock, most of Woodstock is the kind of suburban feel with lots of neighborhoods and like sporadic shopping centers here and there, plenty of things, plenty of shopping, plenty of like grocery stores and things like that. But downtown Woodstock is the most like densely packed part of the city. But that's where a lot of people come to hang out. I live in Marietta, and I also go to downtown Woodstock very often. It's a very fun place to hang out. Again, there's lots of things to do there. My kids and my family, we love going there because there's lots of things. There's the park, there's playgrounds there, lots of shopping, walking around, checking out the sights and the sounds. A really great place to spend time, downtown Woodstock. One of the things that makes downtown Woodstock so unique is that it still has that old-timey feel, a lot of the old-time charm to it. A lot of the buildings, you can tell, were built a long time ago, not like Alpharetta or maybe Swanee, where the buildings were more recently built. Woodstock has a lot of that old charm to it still left there in the city. Now, I have to tell you, one thing that is kind of a downside to Woodstock is that the schools there are not excellent. They don't have 9 out of 10 schools. They don't have 10 out of 10 schools in Woodstock, Georgia. The average school rating there in Woodstock is closer to a 7 or an 8. So there really are a lot of factors that go into play when considering the quality of the schools. All of the ratings that I use on the channel come from a website called greatschools.org. And if you look at that website, there are so many different criteria, so many different factors that determine the rating, the number rating of the school. And so it's really hard to use just one source to determine school quality. With that being said, just something to consider. Overall, Woodstock does not have as good of schools as Alpharetta or East Cobb, but they're still very good. 7 or 8 out of 10 can still be very good there in Woodstock. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that Woodstock is still growing, because it's on the outskirts of the growth bubble of Atlanta. Those schools there in Woodstock have not quite yet really been developed as well as some of the others yet. They will be as more and more people move to Woodstock, Georgia. The schools there will get better as there's more demand for better quality schools. But right now, the schools in Woodstock are not excellent. Hopefully they will be soon. Okay, let's talk about home values in Woodstock, Georgia. Then we're going to take a look at some of the neighborhoods, and then we're also going to do a home tour to see what a typical home looks like in Woodstock. The average home value in Woodstock, Georgia is about $400 to $450, which in Metro Atlanta is absolutely amazing. Take, for example, Alpharetta, where the average home value is $750, or East Cobb, where the average home value is $550. Roswell, the average home value is $650. So when you can find a city suburb of Atlanta that has all of the amenities of the other suburbs of Atlanta, still has a great city center and still has pretty good schools, Woodstock is a great choice, especially when you can find a home there for $400 to $450 on average. So, of course, there's a range in Woodstock. You can find a home in Woodstock as low as $300, which is amazing, and as high as $700,000 or $800,000. So overall, home values in Woodstock are not only great, but they're also on the rise. As the growth bubble expands from Atlanta and more people are moving to the outskirts of the suburbs of Atlanta, of course, Woodstock is one of those cities where home values are going to continue to go up as more and more people are moving there. And that's one of the biggest factors that makes Woodstock, Georgia a hidden gem. Okay, let's take a look at some of the neighborhoods in Woodstock, Georgia, and then we'll also take a look at the interior of one of the homes in Woodstock. Wellington Manor is one of the neighborhoods that's located in Woodstock, Georgia, and it's off of Highway 92, about 5 minutes from downtown Woodstock, which is a huge benefit. Most of the homes in Wellington Manor were built between 1990 and 1995. The average size of the homes in this neighborhood are about 2,000 square feet. And the average home value in this neighborhood is about $400,000, which is a great deal for Woodstock, Georgia. The average lot size in Wellington Manor is about 0.2 to 0.3 acres. And this neighborhood has an HOA that has a pool, a playground, and a tennis court. This next neighborhood is Providence Place, which is located on Town Lake Parkway, about 5 minutes from downtown Woodstock. Now, Woodstock is a pretty large city. I'd say the furthest neighborhood from downtown Woodstock may be about 20 minutes away. So to have a neighborhood so close to downtown Woodstock is really a very big benefit, especially considering that the majority of the activity and the majority of like the commercial spaces and restaurants are right there in downtown Woodstock. Most of the homes in Providence Place were built in the mid-90s. The average size home in this neighborhood is about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. And again, the home values in this neighborhood are $400,000. The lot sizes, again, are about 0.2 to 0.3 acres. And this neighborhood also has an HOA with a clubhouse, a pool, and a tennis court. And this next neighborhood is Claremore Manor, which is also located on Highway 92, about 10 minutes from downtown Woodstock. The average age of the homes is from 2015 to 2017. The average home value is $600,000 to $700,000, and the size of the homes is 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. The lot size is about 0.1 acres, and the HOA has a pool and a playground. Let's take a look at one of the homes in this neighborhood. Woodstock is certainly an amazing city when you compare it to some of the other suburbs in Atlanta. If you want to know about the best suburbs in all of Metro Atlanta, click on this video. I'll see you there.